So I think inclusion to me, what that means is making sure everybody feels valid, making sure everybody feels seen and loved. So when it comes to a specific group of individuals who identify in a specific way, it means no different than to be treated like just a normal human being. Is I would say more of a simplified term and really how I would define inclusion for a specific group and kind of what that means to me. At Avenica, it's a safe place. It's a place where we kind of foster the overall culture of be yourself, no matter within what setting. So, I feel like people are able to not having to hide who their significant other is, or being able to, openly talk about their sexuality or the way they identify, and really be themselves, and also really feel accepted within just the overall culture and team. So I feel like one tip that I would encourage workplaces to just take an initiative to do is to, have resources for somebody who might identify in a specific way, or for somebody who is a part of a different community to turn to. Not only, LGBTQIA+, but that's a place where really they know that they can go, where they are like-minded individuals and have that comfortability to open themselves up. So one tip that I would give for people who are trying to search for an inclusive workplace just overall is, one, take some time to do your research. When it comes to companies, especially nowadays, diversity and inclusion is one of the biggest things that I really see companies advertising as far as what they have to offer for employers. So hopefully that information will be out there. If not, ask questions within the interview. I think that is usually a big hesitation when it comes to individuals who, might not want to advertise their identity or sexual orientation, which is okay. But then you kind of got to take into thought, are you wanting to join a company where you don't feel comfortable in asking those questions initially? So I think that would be probably my best tip, is to do your research, ask questions. Of course, if you're getting a really great response and an open response, then the community is probably pretty inclusive. Probably what I would say to anybody is keep pushing yourself. My biggest thing is if you're feeling uncomfortable, then you're growing. Also to push the boundaries. If you're in a workplace that, you don't think fosters inclusion or diversity, push those boundaries. Keep going, keep pushing those boundaries, keep putting yourself out there, and really overall just make sure you feel comfortable. Being within the community makes us no different than any other individual, so you can go as high as you want. Really, the sky's the limit, just like any other individual out there. To give an answer, I think it's more on the side of helpful. And the reason why I say that is because with turning into a kind of remote environment, I've had the opportunity to connect with individuals really on a day-to-day basis that I wouldn't have had beforehand. And with that being said, just not only speaking to inclusion, but diversity, I've gotten the chance to, really take a deeper dive into somebody's, life. Get to see as far as where they live, talk to them further about how, they identify, find people who I really connect with. And I think in that way, it's been really helpful, because I know in some instances, companies are smaller or companies are so large to the point where, maybe you're not interacting with individuals on a day-to-day, but I know employers right now working in a remote environment are really pushing video really pushing, opening up the conversation as far as like or initial morning check-ins or like, afternoon check-ins, and really taking the time for you to connect with your team or connect with teams outside, just so you feel, again, included, not only if it's in a specific community or not. So I would say that's one thing that I find helpful. Harmful, I would say maybe not having the potential to, communicate in person. And nothing really comes to mind when it comes to harmful. Maybe feeling secluded or isolated, but I feel like that's not only towards like a specific community, like maybe there's a higher percentage that could be kind of brought out as far as like mental health, that, things that we found this community typically usually struggled with, even when we weren't, fully isolated. I would say some tips for that is, find outlets like not in your workplace. So one of the things that I do is I end up going to cycling every single day at Cycle Bar, and it really foster an inclusive environment. So right now in the month of June, it's Pride Month. Actually, one of our instructors, if not other instructors, identify within the community and really outwardly portray that. So an area where I feel included, to kind of shift it back into a workspace. That's actually something that, I talk pretty frequently about within a work setting, is what I'm interested in and the type of people that I involve myself around. So I would say I would consider that as far as harmful, feeling isolated and not included, just in an overall lifestyle setting, but kind of taking steps to combat that is really, finding different outlets to make sure that you're feeling included and taking it from there.